my daughter at the time was 11, and she said, the worst part about you guys breaking up is that we can't go out on the boat anymore. And he had sold the boat, and I said, why? Why can't we go out on a boat? And she said, because women can't drive boats. And I was like, oh, no.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, no, that's, women can drive boats. She's like, well, I've never seen one.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, Angie Scott and Barb Carey.
Welcome, everyone, to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. We are rolling in 2020. A lot of you have been getting out doing a little bit of ice fishing. Some of you haven't been able to do as much as you'd like because the conditions aren't that great. But hopefully they will get better as the season goes on, and I'll continue to daydream about Florida. So I wanted to mix it up a little this week and share one of the amazing interviews that I was able to get on my last trip down to Florida with 3 female captains, and this one was with Captain Stacy Horak. We were actually out on the boat fishing the Crystal River when we did this interview, and she's got a super inspiring story, so I think you're going to enjoy it. I think this is the first episode we've ever done while actually fishing. We did a little bit, speaking of ice fishing, last year at the Women on Ice recap episode. I did some recording out there, and I'm sure we'll do it again this year, but this time we were out on the boat actually catching some fish. You're going to hear spinning reel casts, some movement around in the boat, airplanes going overhead, other boats running in the background. And Stacy was nice enough to let us bring our 2 dogs along for the trip as well, so you might hear them moving about a bit throughout the interview, but hopefully it just makes you feel like you're right there with us catching fish. We're going to put photos and links to where you can connect with Captain Stacy in the show notes for this episode. You'll find that at thewomanangler.com/101. And a reminder, if you haven't signed up for our free Insider Weekly yet, you're missing out on some great content. And this week we have another amazing giveaway, so make sure you're signed up for that. Check that out. There will be a link for that in the show notes as well. All right, I hope you enjoy my conversation with Captain Stacy Horak. Captain Stacy Horak, right?
That's right.
We're out here, Crystal River, the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast, and we are fishing as we speak.
Tell them what you just caught.
We just caught a really nice redfish. How many inches do you figure that was?
28, 26,
good.
25.
A good eater. I always have to catch and release, So
That's right. Sometimes you want dinner.
Yep. Or lunch. We might be able to, this might be one of the freshest fish we've ever ate.
Yeah, you got to eat it for lunch.
Yeah.
All the restaurants here do it. I don't think there's any that don't.
So it's pretty awesome. It's kind of a chilly day for Florida.
Yeah, it's freezing for us Floridians.
But we're from Nashville, and we're like, yeah, it's nice out here.
It was 44 degrees this morning, and I asked if they could be 30 minutes later. Because I was frozen.
So we've just been chatting here and found out a crazy little connection. So when I was down here for the Redfish Roadie road trip, we went out with Kyle and in Homosassa, and he took us out, and that's where I got my first fish on the fly, was with Kyle. Well, come to find out, his in-laws own Homosassa Marine, and we just went by there yesterday and met the owners. I had no idea that was
That's so awesome, because they are wonderful.
Quick funny little side note here is we found out later there are 2 guides named Kyle in that area, and both are fly anglers, and the one that I actually went out with was Kyle Staten, who is with Shallow Sightings. So I guess they get mixed up all the time. This was no exception. However, I did meet Diane from Homosassa Marine. They're friends with my dealer here in Nashville, and I stopped in and said hi, and she is amazing. Yeah. Tell us a little bit. You're telling us what you do there with Diane.
Diane is the owner of Homosassa Marine, her and her husband. And Diane is just amazing. She's very much for empowering women, making them independent on the water, and, you know, she's just all for it. She's pro-woman, for sure.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do fishing clinics for women so that women could learn how to tie their own knots, throw cast nets, because what I was hearing the most of was that their husbands or boyfriends were aggravated when they went with them because they couldn't take the fish off the hook, they couldn't tie any knots, they couldn't re-rig, they couldn't get bait, they couldn't do anything. So the guys were saying, like, you know, they feel like they're working all day when their women tag along. So my plan is to, you know, hold these clinics so that women can hop on a boat with a backpack and a couple rods and not have to worry about anybody doing anything for them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we also take it to the next step where I know several women that own boats and want to learn everything there is, you know, about safety and backing the trailer and unloading the boat, and there's so much to it, you know. So I've actually helped probably 3 or 4 women one-on-one learn how to get their boats in the water, run their boats safely, you know, do a safety checklist, make sure they have all their equipment. And these women now are out every weekend fishing and catching fish.
That's awesome.
So I love seeing that.
That's great. How often do you do those? It's once a month?
Once a month.
Okay.
And Diane is the one that said, if you want to hold it at my, you know, boat store, you can.
That's so cool.
She has a great place to hold it, and she hosts it, really. She, you know, gets hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and she was talking about the next time getting some wine.
Yeah.
I said, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, you're going to draw a lot of women in.
Yeah. You know, the first one had, like, I think, like, 13, 14 women, and we had such a great time, because it's all like-minded females.
Right.
You know, and all there for different reasons, but they all want to learn something or get better at what they do.
Right.
And I love it.
Well, it's a great networking thing.
It really is.
Too. And I think women, too, love learning from other women.
Yeah.
It's just
they don't feel intimidated.
Exactly. So that's super cool.
Not that there's anything wrong with learning from men. That's how I learned. But sometimes, you know, you're worried, like, oh my God, is he going to yell at me?
Yeah, we just had an episode not too long ago about mansplaining.
Yes. Yep.
And it was actually a guy who's a YouTuber, and he was watching a back video, editing it for one upcoming YouTube episode. He goes out, he fishes, he travels around. He had met up with this lady who's a really diehard outdoors woman, really experienced angler. And he was watching it back, and he was mortified because he was mansplaining her. We got a little fish on.
A little baby fish.
Woo. So anyway, that's...
A little trout.
Hey, a little black...
Spotted sea trout.
Spotted sea trout. It's so pretty.
Oh, he's pretty. Feel how cold they are, my God. You're freezing.
See it, Dana?
See how cute?
It is beautiful. Pretty. Love it. Beautiful fish.
We'll let him go see another day.
So, speaking of learning from guys, like, tell us your story and how you... I actually watched a YouTube video where you were interviewed, and I was like, your story is so great. That's why... It's crazy, I wanted to have you on the podcast, because it's perfect... It's crazy, because if you would have told me 4.5 years ago that I would be doing this, I would say you've lost your mind. Because you didn't want to.
Well, honestly, 4.5 years ago... Well, it's really almost 5 now. I was married at the time, and he liked to fish, and he had a boat, and we would go out as a family on the boat, but I never fished. I didn't like it at all. And the couple times that I did, I would catch a catfish or something, so I was like, this is not for me. Yeah. But he enjoyed it, but he never caught any fish, ever. Like, really. All the years saltwater fishing, he never caught any fish. But, so it just really wasn't my thing at all. I really wouldn't even pick up bait. I wouldn't bait the hook. Mm-hmm. He had to do it. And when we decided to separate, it was very amicable. And my daughter at the time was 11. And she said, the worst part about you guys breaking up is that we can't go out on the boat anymore. And he had sold the boat, you know, and I said, why? Why can't we go out on a boat? And she said, because women can't drive boats. And I was like, oh, no.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, no, women can drive boats. She's like, well, I've never seen one. So a week later, I went and bought a 16-foot G3 for hardly nothing. The guy gave it away. And so she went with me to the ramp at like midnight, and we learned how to back the trailer because I didn't want anybody to see me do it.
Right, and I mean that's a good time.
Yeah,
to
I
go.
would have been so embarrassed. Like, oh my god. So I did it probably 50 times, and then I was like, okay, I feel confident. So the next day we went out, and we were bass fishing. It was on a river that led to a lake. So we were bass fishing, really not having a clue what we were doing. I was using bait casters. That was, oh my god.
Wow.
Oh man, it was backlashing all day.
Yep.
I was cussing, like it was horrible. But after a couple times, I caught a 9.11 pound bass.
Holy cow.
And I was like, oh my god, I'm hooked. So then I started coming to this area just to try to do some saltwater fishing. And what I did was hung out at the bait stores and listened to them. What they were saying, you know, the people that would come in, I would listen to what they caught that day, how they caught it, because they really will tell you a lot at the bait store.
Right.
Like, they come in there talking to their friends, and you hear a lot. And then I also started looking on the shelves at what was gone, and I was like, whatever's gone is what they're using.
Yep.
So that's what I started doing. Then I met one captain here named Robert McClinnis, and he kind of took me under his wing and never did anything for me, always made me do it. Like learning to run this skinny water. Oh, that scared me.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're dealing with
intimidated.
6-8 inches of water.
And you look out, and it's wide open.
Oh, it
so
looks
doesn't...
like you can just run right across.
Yeah.
But there's oyster beds, rocks, everywhere. So he would tell me, you know, do you have faith in your ability? I'm like, sure. So, you know, he taught me how to get around out here a little bit, and then told me what to look for, how to do it. And, you know, I made some mistakes. I've hit some oyster beds.
Yeah. It happens to everybody.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, even Kyle, you know.
Oh, yeah. People that have been doing this for 30 years still do it every now and then.
Yep.
But, you know, the captains at first, I think they probably thought I was just, you know, it was almost like a joke. Like, whatever. She's not going to be a captain. And
because there's really not any other women around here.
No. Like, there's some that do, like, manatees, and there are a couple that do fishing tours, but, you know, they have full-time jobs, and so, you know, I would not recommend doing what I did, because I dropped everything and put everything I had into becoming a charter captain. And I wouldn't recommend that. Like, don't quit your day job.
Yeah.
It certainly doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
I've been a captain now for like 2.5 years, and I'm not even close to being booked as many days as I would like to.
Right.
But it is getting there, slowly but surely. But you do have to put the work in. I was out here every day.
Right.
Literally every day after work.
So if somebody wanted to get into it, but, you know, still had a day job and stuff, I mean, you just get out when you can?
Yeah, that's how I started. I was a waitress. I waitressed in the evenings.
Okay.
So I would leave really early in the morning because it was like a 45-minute drive. So I would load the boat up, leave at 5 o'clock in the morning, be on the water by 6:30, and fish until about noon. And then I would go home and, you know, go get ready for work, go to work. And it was exhausting, but I could hear people talking, you know, that she's not going to make it. So I was like, no, I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
So, and the captain saw me out here every day. And then they started getting a little nicer and a little nicer. And, you know, then they started giving me some helpful tricks and hints and what to look for. And now I love them to death. They're all amazing.
But you had to earn that.
Oh, you have to earn it whether you're a man or a woman.
Yeah.
I just saw on Facebook yesterday a new captain, a young guy, and he said something about book a trip with me, and like 5 local captains wrote on there, who are you?
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, oh boy, he's in for it. So it really doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. But I think being a woman, they do believe probably a little more so that you're not going to make it.
Right.
because there's just not many out here at all.
Well, I wonder if, because women now are the fastest growing segment of people buying licenses and stuff.
They are, and these companies aren't seeing that.
Right, no, and it's sad. I think they're starting to come around, but we're having to make a lot. Oh,
you see that wake?
And where you just casted, we had
Well, we're gonna sit here for a minute.
There was some bait that got scared and jumped up right where you casted.
Yeah, and there was a big snook or something.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we're having to make a lot of noise for them to take more than we should have to, but I just wonder if some of these male captains aren't a little threatened, by all that, because women are generally more comfortable going out with a female, cat. At least I know in Nashville where I am, I don't do fishing guide trips yet, but I know women that want to go out and have a good time with their girlfriends and stuff are more comfortable going out with a female captain. So
I would love to take more women. I really would.
So what turned what made you decide you wanted to be a captain?
The captain I was talking about, Robert, that kind of took me under his wing. Mm-hmm. He told me one day, you should be a charter captain. And I said, you have lost your mind. There is no way I could untie people's knots all day, when they get hung up. And I don't have the patience for that. And I have to bait everybody's hook and do this and do that. And he's like, I'm telling you, you'd be good at it. And he told me, he said, being a waitress and a charter captain are not that different.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And he said, yeah, it's dealing with people. You have to be able to deal with people. And he was right. And I don't know, one day I just said, there's no way I ever want to get off the water. Mm-hmm. So this is what I want to do for a living. Because this is so peaceful and so healing. And, I mean, the things that you see every day, dolphins, manatee, every species of saltwater fish inshore here is insane.
Yep.
And I don't even have to fish. I can just sit. And it's like going to church to me.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to be out here every day.
There's so many things in society now, people are always looking for some sort of escape.
Yes.
And this is a good, very healthy way to do that.
Well, sometimes it's healthy.
Well, yeah.
I spend a lot of money on lures.
Yeah.
My boat is always broke.
We shared an article the other day. It was written several years ago, but it was like, do you have obsessive compulsive fishing disorder?
Yeah, I do. There's no doubt.
Yep. I was like, check. Yep.
I'll tell you, I would much rather go fishing for lures and tackle and, gear than go for purses or clothes.
Oh, yeah. Tell us a little bit about your daughter, because she kind of...
Yeah, she's been with me every step of the way. And she is just... her plan in a year and a half is to go in the Coast Guard.
Oh.
Which, that would have never happened if I hadn't have done this.
Right.
Never. She really wasn't even a big fan of the water. She liked going out on the boat and getting a suntan, but that was it, really. Mm-hmm. And now, that girl will throw a shark in this boat in a second. And I still don't like sharks in my boat at all. But she's very educated with sharks and really good with them. And I told her she should be a shark fishing captain. Oh, did you get one?
I had a little nibble. I thought it might have been on there, but wasn't.
She wants to be a marine services technician.
Oh, that's cool.
A marine science technician in the Coast Guard.
What do they do exactly?
She's all about the environment.
Okay.
And they clean oil spills. There's quite a few avenues you can go down with that title. Mm-hmm. But she wants to be on a boat doing cleanup.
Nice.
And she also talked about maybe boarding vessels to check for their safety equipment.
That would make me nervous.
She'll be the one giving you a ticket.
Yeah.
She wants to carry a gun.
So many drug smuggling operations going on.
Oh, she's all about that. She wants to carry a gun, and every time she sees a story on the news about them taking down a submarine or, finding cocaine offshore or something, she's like, "That's me." I said, "Oh my God, you're crazy. I would not want to do that."
I was actually in the Coast Guard Auxiliary.
Yeah.
which is just the volunteer arm of the Coast Guard in Nashville, because I wanted to learn more about boating and all that. This was before I studied to get my captain's license, and so kind of laid the groundwork a little bit. But, I always thought if I could go back, that might have been something I would have been interested in doing, is going into the Coast Guard. But I was like, my luck, I'd get stationed in, like, I don't know, some river somewhere, I want to be on the ocean. I don't know that you have control over.
You don't.
Where they put you.
I said that to her. What if you get stationed in Anchorage?
Yeah.
And she's like, that would be awesome. I said, oh my God, not me. I don't want anything to do with that. So
there was a series, I forget, I don't know what network it was on, but it was the Florida Coast Guard Florida or something, like a reality show. And I think you can get it on iTunes or something. You can download that season. So she might be really interested to watch that.
She would love that.
It was a cool...
She's a little nervous about boot camp.
Yeah.
As she should be.
Right.
Because she is a little princess.
Well, that'd be good for her then, right?
It'll toughen her up for sure.
So you kind of have a cool lifestyle now, because you live...
Oh, I love it.
You live in an RV, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We would love to have that lifestyle down here in the winter.
I was really worried about it, having a daughter, a teenage daughter. But it's great, because really all we ever did at home anyway was sleep and eat.
Right.
We're always on the go. So now we are actually home spending quality time together more, because we sit around the fire, we, cook marshmallows, grill out.
It's almost like being on vacation.
Yeah, it's like legitimately camping every day.
Yeah.
But I have a nice, comfortable bed in there, and it's great.
That's so cool.
This
is such a cool, laid-back area.
Yeah.
Too.
It really is. See that fish jump?
Yep.
I think I hit him with my bait.
So you're originally from Alabama, right?
No, California.
Oh, you're originally from California.
I was born in California, but I moved here when I was 8.
Oh, okay.
And I was raised in
I don't
Brooksville.
know why I thought you lived in Alabama.
No.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love Florida. I don't ever want to leave.
Yep.
Like, I want to travel, but I don't want to... I always want to come back here.
So, do you foresee yourself doing this for many years down the road, or what's your...
I don't know which avenue...
Oh, I thought I had something.
Because I really want to... Really, my whole goal in starting all of this was showing women and, young girls like my daughter that say a woman can't drive a boat.
Right.
I want them to know that they can. If you can drive a car, you can drive a boat.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a man thing. And I mean, I was married for 13 years, and he always had a boat. I never drove it. Never. Now I'm kicking myself for that, because I could have had so much experience.
Yep.
I never paid attention to not one thing he did. And I always thought that he was kind of a whiner, because he would come home and say, now I got to clean the boat. And I was like, oh, whatever. It's a beautiful day. But I would go inside, and I was done for the day, while he was out there scrubbing the boat and flushing the motor. And, there's a lot more to it. Look at that weight. Ooh. That is a big boy.
Yeah. Redfish. Possibly. Or a big snook, I guess it could be.
Definitely.
We gotta get Dana. Dana's here with us, too. We gotta get her fish today.
I'm working on it.
I know. I want her to get a snook.
Yeah.
Because then we'll have a trout, a redfish, and a snook.
Well, you had mentioned, we were talking earlier about maybe traveling around the country in the RV.
Yes.
Interviewing, fishing with amazing women.
I've met so many on Facebook that do incredible things. Like, I do have a friend that she lives way up in the North cold somewhere, and she was on Naked and Afraid.
Oh, wow.
And, like, she fishes, she hunts. Like, she's incredible. I mean, anybody that can do Naked and Afraid, oh, my God.
Yeah.
And she, in her episode, the man was trying to start the fire, and he couldn't. And she did it in, like, 5 seconds. And she said, woman makes fire. I was like, yeah.
I want to see that one.
But I've met so many people, so many women on Facebook that have these incredible jobs and stories. And they get absolutely no recognition. I mean, they're not trying to get recognition.
Right.
But I think they should.
And their stories need to be shared because then that inspires other
Yes.
women who are out there who think that women can't drive a boat.
Yes, and we have a whole new generation of girls coming up that need to know they can do this.
Right.
And just like you said, these companies should really be jumping on board with women. Because that's where the money's at.
Yep.
Because women are the ones in there, and women want to look cute when they're fishing.
Right.
So you could really sell some fishing clothes.
And not all of them just want, they say, shrink it and make it pink or whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely
companies.
not what we all want.
No. Yep. And so.
My favorite thing to wear is coveralls. In this kind of weather. Oh.
Comfortable.
Yeah, I love them.
Well, we talked a little bit, so it's been a really kind of a hot topic going on right now because of some other podcasts and stuff, but how damaging it is, these women that are out there in the bikinis.
Oh, yeah.
Especially here in Florida, further south and stuff, and how that's just hurting everybody. Because,
and I have plenty of friends that do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell them they shouldn't do it because, they're my friends, whatever, but I will not do that, and I just don't think it's a good idea as far as having respect, because coming from a person that is a charter captain, I do have men book charters thinking that I'm one of those, and that I'm going to be in a bikini. I've actually had them say it, are you going to wear a bikini today?
Jeez.
That's infuriating to me.
Right.
So I just feel like they are making it harder for the people that want to be recognized for their ability, not for how they look. I think if you're short, tall, fat, skinny, everybody should be able to do it. So, a 250-pound woman is not going to make it in a bikini.
Right.
You know what I mean? People are not going to watch them like they watch the other girls. So it's really not fair. You should be judged on your ability.
Right. And you made me think of something when you said, talking about being a server and being a guide aren't really that far apart. There's a lot of men out there who are really good anglers, but they don't make good charter captains because they don't have that.
Right.
Those.
Absolutely.
Personal skills or patience.
Yeah.
You gotta have a lot of patience. But back to what we were just talking about, you've had some crazy situations being a female captain. It's not easy.
No. It's scary sometimes.
Yeah.
You definitely have to be able to protect yourself. Because not everybody is in it just to fish.
Right.
I did learn that right away. I was a little naive. And it was actually the other captains around here that said, don't be stupid. Do not take one guy out on your boat unless you know him. They can take one guy out on their boat, but I cannot do that. I've done it 3 or 4 times, and I won't do it again.
You even had one where the guy basically booked the charter thinking he was gonna get a date out of it.
He was mad, very mad that I didn't go on a date.
So crazy.
Listen, I had one guy pull my hair while I was doing 32 miles an hour.
Oh my goodness.
And I was 9 miles out.
Wow.
And he pulled my hair so much that it jerked my neck. And I freaked out. I didn't know what to do. So after that day, I prepared myself.
Right.
And then he's showing me his phone, he's going to show me some fishing pictures. And it was him naked.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
So I was like, would you do this with a guy, Captain? I don't think so.
No.
So you have to learn what to look for, And I can pretty much get a feel for him now when they call him book.
Right.
It's kind of funny, though. This morning, I got pulled over because I don't have any trailer left.
Oh.
So this big, burly cop pulls me over. And I'm from Crystal River, so I know all these cops. And I'm like, I don't know him. This is not good. So he said his name, and he said, I just wanted to let you know your trailer lights were out. And he's like, must be nice going fishing today. And I said, yeah. I said, but it is a job. It's still a job,
Yeah.
And he goes, what? That's your job? I said, it is. And he said, I got something. Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. Dan's got one.
Yay.
Woo. What is it?
Trout.
Yeah, little trout.
Pretty.
Good job.
It's nice catching fish on a podcast.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We're going to get a picture. Picture?
So we've got some trout, redfish.
Just hold them real. Their trout are pretty sensitive, from what I understand.
Yeah, they are. You have to be very gentle.
Because they're soft. And they got teeth, too, so don't put your finger in his mouth.
You know what I see all the time is people picking them up with a towel or a rag. Never do that, ever.
Oh, yeah, because it gets
It wipes their slime off, and their slime is like a protective coating, so you don't want to wipe that off.
Right.
So, yeah, so this police officer was like, are you serious? You're a charter captain for real? I was like, yes, I'm a woman charter captain. And he said, you know what? He said, I just moved here 3 weeks ago. And he said, I retired and moved here and started working again. And he said, will you show me around out here? I was like, absolutely, for a fee, not for free. And
first of all, don't give me a ticket for my trailer.
Exactly. I'll give you a discount if you don't write me a ticket. So he basically is booking a couple trips with me running his Sea Arc tunnel hole, which is a perfect boat for out here. So, just because he has no idea how to get around.
Right.
So I love doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he was super nice, wasn't like freaking out because I'm a woman.
Right. That's cool.
So I, booked a trip at the boat ramp this morning.
And a lot of people too, like he was probably like, "Oh, nice going fishing today," and it's a lot of work.
Oh, I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
You're so lucky. Yeah, luck has nothing to do with it.
They have no idea how much work
right
goes
now,
into it.
power pole's broken. My bottom machine is broken.
So you had a steering issue.
Yeah, just fixed that.
Yep.
And that is another thing that I really want to touch on.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a mechanic, but I have become one. You learn how to fix your own stuff when you're paying somebody $100 an hour to fix it.
Right.
So I have learned so much. I can fix so much stuff on my boat now. And I really kind of tore it apart and put it back together, all the wiring, everything, so that I know what's what, where it goes, how it works. Because when I first started, I was clueless.
Right.
So somebody would say, oh, it's this or this or this. Let me fix that for you. But then how am I supposed to know if that's really what it is?
Right.
And I was, having stuff break. So I was like, I got to learn this myself. And that's where, some of the other captains, I'll call them and say, what does this do? And what's this for? And is this supposed to look like this? So they've helped a lot, just teaching.
Yeah.
But you do have to be self-sufficient, or you have to be rich when you start out.
Plus, it helps probably if you're out on the water and something messes up.
Which happens all the time.
You might be able to fix it, and not have to get towed in.
Which I have several times. I have all kinds of tools on the boat now. I learned that.
Yep. So it sounds like some of your best tips are, get out there, learn it, go to the bait shops, listen to what people are saying, pay attention to what baits they're buying.
Yes.
Get as much experience as you can, learn the water, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Build a network, build respect.
Yep.
Learn how to be a mechanic.
Yeah, and if you're going to fish in areas like this where you can't just run, you should have a good mapping chip. Oh, you see that fish?
Yes.
That's a good bait fish.
Oh, yep.
Lizard fish.
I caught a lizard fish.
Like there's something called Florida Marine Tracks. That is absolutely insane. It's almost like cheating. It's so cool. I don't have it yet, but I will have it. It gives you all the safe routes.
Okay.
Like you come out here, you have no idea what you're doing. You just follow, I think it's the dotted line.
Wow.
And it's whether it's low tide or high tide, there's one track you can run.
It adjusts it.
And then there's like a track you can run at high tide. Track you can run at low, whatever. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's amazing.
Do the oyster beds and stuff shift around a lot though, or no? No. Okay. I didn't know if that changed.
But they go out there, like the people with the Florida Marine Tracks, they're out in their boats all the time, just checking stuff.
Okay.
Checking structure that they've marked to make sure If a hurricane came through, they want to see if it moved.
Right. Now, is it a chip
Yeah.
that goes in your
Yeah.
graph that you're...
And there's only certain machines that it can run with.
Okay.
I think it's Simrad and maybe Lance.
Okay.
But I have a couple clients that I run their boats and they have it. I had them get it.
Cool.
And it makes a world of difference. It
That's
really
awesome.
does. It's crazy.
So, one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, because we haven't really talked about this ever on the show, but scalloping seems to be like a really big thing down here.
Oh, it's huge.
This
year was horrible, though.
Was it? What's scalloping like? What do you have to dive for them?
It's so fun. Like, this year was really rough, and I think people have their opinions on why it was so bad. But because the year before was really good, you know, you could limit out and have a great day and half a day. And this year it was just horrible. My God. But normally, this year it wasn't like this. But normally, you go out in 4 to 5 feet of water.
Okay.
And it's crystal clear, like this is. And you just snorkel. And you see them on the bottom. You grab them, and they're, you know, little scallops that click along the bottom. They're
you have
really
like
cool.
A bag or a bucket or something?
Yeah, you just have a little mesh bag.
Okay.
And a mask and a snorkel and fins, and swim down there, get them, and bring them back up. And then, like here, you can take them to a restaurant and they'll cook them for you.
Okay.
And
I heard there's boats that go around and will shuck them for you or something.
yeah, they do have a couple on the way in that will shuck them for you.
Okay.
But usually, where you're putting in whatever boat ramp you're putting in at, usually they have somebody there.
Okay.
Like myself, I shuck them myself.
Okay.
Because you make a little more money. And my daughter shucks them. She makes really good money in the summer.
How
Like
do you...
$150,
what's
$200 a day.
What's the shucking process? What does that mean?
Pain in the butt.
That's why people pay people to do it, right?
Yeah, you have to open them and like get the membrane off of them.
Okay.
And then get the scallop meat out. And once you've done it a few times, it's, you know, like nothing. But
And then, how do they cook them?
I like saute mine.
Okay.
And like butter, garlic,
Nice.
that kind of thing. But really, you can fry them. You can saute them. You could like grill them on a grill pan, and just like any other, you know, fish.
Mm-hmm.
They're delicious. There's no doubt about that.
That's awesome. Well, cool. Is there anything we didn't talk about that you want to share on the show, or
No, I
any
think we
last
covered
words
a
of
lot
advice?
Of the woman stuff. Yeah, my advice is don't just jump right in with both feet. Learn, take your time. You know, it took me 2 years of fishing at least 3 or 4 times a week before I decided to get my captain's license.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make sure I could handle it. You have to be able to handle the storms, because Florida has some really bad storms, and you will get caught in them.
Have you been in any like really bad
yeah.
situations with clients?
Yeah, a couple times. But you just have to get out. You have to get out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, this year, scalloping, funnel cloud came down right on us.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, I just had to get out of the way. But there's plenty of times that you're looking at the radar, you're watching your weather, it looks fine, and then all of a sudden in the summertime, bam, a storm forms above your head. So you just have to get in, you have to be safe.
Sounds like Nashville.
It's crazy, the weather here. In the summer. In the wintertime, it's not bad at all. I love it. But in the summertime, you can pretty much guarantee after 2 o'clock, it's going to storm.
Yeah. Get rained on.
So you're going to get rained on. And wear your kill switch.
Yeah.
That's so important. We were just talking about that earlier.
Yep.
But I got knocked out of my G3 in a bad storm. And if I didn't have my kill switch on, I would not be here.
Yeah. Wow.
My boat stopped. I swam to it, got in, and thank God that I had my kill switch.
See, we run a pontoon up in Nashville, and we don't really think about attaching the kill switch. But, I mean, I guess anything's possible, you
Absolutely.
know? So.
If it has a kill switch, there's a reason.
Right.
So you gotta use it.
Yep.
And I am 100% on safety. Safety is number one, always.
Yep. It's good. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for taking us out today.
Yeah, this was an awesome podcast. I love podcasts when you're fishing.
I know. And this might be the first one we've ever done.
Oh, that's awesome.
While we're actually fishing. So actually it is.
That's great.
Yeah. Barb, my co-host, she did one where they were sitting inside in a cabin and they had lines out and they were watching them out the window.
Oh my gosh.
And they were muskie fishing and they saw the line get nervous. And so they cut the podcast short. They're like, we gotta go.
Oh my gosh.
But this is the first time we've done one on the boat.
Catching fish.
Yeah, actually catching fish.
That's fantastic.
So, thanks for being on, and hopefully we'll get a few more in the boat before the day's over.
Yeah, thanks for fishing with me.
All right. All right, that does it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned because next week we're sharing another interview with an amazing lady captain, Captain Debbie Hansen, who I also got to fish with and interview while I was down in Florida. You're really going to enjoy Debbie's story as well. Don't forget to get signed up for that Insider Weekly now. You can go to podcast.thewomanangler.com/insider. That will take you straight to the sign up page. Be looking for those. They come out every Sunday evening. I know people that are already on the list are really enjoying the content. We're going to keep it coming and keep getting better. Thanks again, as always, for your support, for listening to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. See you on Friday for 5 Minute Friday.